Okay, so finally I get to coffee talk. Right, the topic for today's coffee talk is why do your eyebrows itch a bit during the healing phase and what's considered normal and abnormal? So if you're dealing with itchy eyebrows after your microblading or blade and shade or your eyebrow tattoo treatment with either myself or any of the nurses that work under Browtique or anybody else for that matter, it's completely normal and it means that the healing process is going really well. Unless, of course, that you're experiencing extreme itchiness accompanied by a discharge, redness, soreness, inflammation. In that case, you need to contact your doctor right away. In the 11 years that I am actually doing this work, I have never had a client get an infection. So it's unlikely that the itchiness is as a result of infection. So in the hours after the treatment, your brows are still an open wound. So bear in mind, the treatment that I do, you can have anything between 120 and 160 hair strokes in each eyebrow. And with Ashling, she uses a different machine for either dusty brows or for a powder fill. But either way, it's an open wound. And that means it can get infected really easily. So no surface which isn't sterile can come into contact with the treated area, and this includes your fingers. So hands off the brow. We're very specific about our aftercare, and to date, as I say, we've never had a client get an infection. If you were going to get an infection, it would usually start to present itself about 3 to 4 days after the treatment is done, certainly not in the first 24 hours. However, follow the aftercare and the itching won't be as a result of infection. So once the healing happens and a scab forms, and we talk about scabbing, but you don't see much of that in our treatments here, you have to refrain from touching the brows, because if you rip off the scab or if you scrub it or if you pull a scab, that can cause the pigments to be pulled out and you risk ruining the results. You can also cause a permanent scarring because the skin underneath hasn't recovered. So usually itching is a good sign. So how can you relieve your itching eyebrows? So here's the thing. No matter how itchy they get after microblading, you mustn't scratch them with your fingers. You need to keep your hands to yourself during the heal process. And you need to be very disciplined not to touch your eyebrows. So usually if you get an itch and you're dying to scratch it, I invariably tell my clients to keep cotton buds in the vicinity, ideally in a little plastic bag, and that you can actually give them a bit of a dock like that, whereby it'll relieve the itch. It hasn't touched, fingers haven't touched their eyebrows, and you're not scratching them or scrubbing them. So in the aftercare pack that we give you, there is an oil in it that we advise you to apply with a cotton bud, quite specifically, particularly on the first day, and then twice a day then minimum for 5 days after that. But if you find that your eyebrows are relieved by applying this oil, you can apply it more often. You can't overdo it. Some people find that it's very incredibly soothing. But in the night time, for 5 nights, recommend that our clients apply the tiniest amount of either Vaseline or Bepanthen. I love Bepanthen myself. You can find it in the nappy aisle inside in any one of the supermarkets. And covering the area with a very thin layer of this will protect the wound. It'll minimize scarring and it'll moisturize the area and stop it from feeling dry and tight and itchy. Therefore, you'll be less inclined to want to scratch it. And if you find that that still doesn't help you, you can use a pack of frozen peas that's inside in your fridge, or your freezer rather, and wrap it in a very clean new towel, tea towel or a pillow slip, and just apply it onto your eyebrow area. Or you could put 2 spoons into, I'm just looking for a spoon here now, into the freezer, and that would mold itself beautifully onto the eyebrow area, one on either side. But be sure to put either a very thin tissue onto your eyebrow before you apply the spoon, or maybe 4x4 gauze, and that will actually give it a lovely comfort and help to relieve the itch as well. Some people find that great, other people don't find it any good at all, but you try what works. So do not, under any circumstances, use an antihistamine cream that you would use, say, for example, if you had an insect bite, because the different products that are in those kind of creams could react with the pigments, and it could affect our results by fading them. And the only reason you would actually use one of those antihistamine creams outside of our aftercare instructions would be if a doctor prescribed it for you. So yeah, only under doctor's supervision would you put that kind of a cream on your eyebrows. But the itch is usually it's a very minor little thing, and you could kind of, be minding your own business, and then you go, there's a little bit of an itch, and you've got to scratch an itch. But please don't, hands off the brow for the duration of the healing time, which is only 5 days. So